Although it is September, I'm actually very ready for October. So hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be talking about detransitioning, and I'm going to give you a little background before we get into this topic. If you don't know me, I'm FTM, which means I'm female to male, transgender, and I've been living as a male for 6 years. And I'm going to give you a little bit more background on that as well. So, I knew that I was different, pretty much, and felt like a boy in a girl's body, for lack of better terms, since I was since I was very, very young, as far as 5, but I kind of knew a lot more at like 8, 9, or 10, something like that. I know that's a 3-year age gap, but like whatever, 8 and 10 to me are the same thing. I didn't really have a doubt in my mind that I was different. Each year I would ask myself and say, hey, is this really how you feel? Do I still feel this way since last year? And my answer would always be yes. So I didn't really have many doubts about me being trans or feeling different or feeling like a boy. I would ask myself to make sure, because I needed to come out and I didn't want everyone to go through a process and have me be transgender and then me detransition and shit like that. So I would always ask myself for years, probably for 5 years, Sam, this is how you feel. Yes, this is how you feel. So let's see if you feel this way next year. And basically that's what I did for a long time, for a few years, 5 years, whatever. And once I finally couldn't take it anymore, I actually came out. That's kind of where I'm coming from with this video, because I don't understand detransitioning. I watched a good few hours of detransitioning videos, and I found the ones that I want to review, but I can see where people went wrong and where people didn't like take themselves as serious as they should have. I've never had a doubt in my mind that I'm trans and that I should be a male, so that's kind of where like this is all coming from, if you know what I'm saying. I feel so much more comfortable living as a male, so that's that. By the way, if you want a poster of me that's signed, it's only $10 in the US. Shipping is free, and the international shipping is like $3. So if you want one, you can buy them. The link will be in my bio. I've only got about 5 videos here that we can watch, but they are all very interesting, and a pattern that I have seen in people who detransition. Many people have said that they have been through some type of trauma in their life, and that kind of confused them whether or not they're transgender. I don't know how your gender contributes to trauma, but I guess that's what happened. Some of these people were sexually assaulted, and that kind of probably made them feel disassociation with their body because somebody has done something that they don't like, and they don't like to look there and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I can see where they kind of went wrong, but there is also a lot of people who have been sexually assaulted, harassed, all that type of stuff, who don't transition because of that. But some people have gone through a lot of trauma, and that kind of led to their transition and their disassociation with their body and stuff like that, and they confused both of the things. So we're gonna get right into that right now. So I found a couple of YouTubers who have made videos. There's so many. All I typed in was detransition on YouTube, and I found so many videos that I actually didn't know what to do with myself. Like, I did not know there were so many videos of people detransitioning. This person's name is Natalie. So I'm not gonna make you guys watch this whole video, but basically what this person is saying is, I watched the full video myself, but they have transitioned from male to female, then detransitioned because they felt that that was not right, and now they want to transition again because they think that this is what they need to do.
So why would I transition again? I realized that no matter how good I thought my life was before, no matter what I was going through, no matter how chaotic it was, regardless of all of those things, my life was never going to be what it was before. I never could be that person again because I lived on the other side. The grass was greener. I was so incredibly happy. Going through therapy and coming to terms with things and going through these realizations have made me come full circle now, and here I am back at square one, transitioning again, because I realize that no matter what I do, I am this person. And so I can either accept that and live a really awesome life, or I can fight it forever and just continue to fight myself, and I can struggle with depression and anxiety and solidarity for my entire life.
I think that detransitioning and transitioning are very, very serious things, and I think it's taken way too lightly today. I've explained that before, but people don't really want to hear me out. But I think that transitioning is a very serious thing. It is very serious. If you transition before you hit puberty, your body's not going to change. So if you're taking hormone blockers and you're like 11 or something, and then you're not going through that puberty. You're going to go through a different puberty, the other gender's puberty, because you're going to take the hormones and blah, 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 shit like that. And I think it's a very serious thing, so you need to be very, very sure of this, and this is who you are, because people do go through detransition, which I can imagine is a horrible thing to go through, because first of all, I can't see myself going back ever. And if I did, do you hear my voice? And I have facial hair now, so even when I shave, there's still like that shadow. You know how guys have that shadow? There's still that shadow. So like even if I went to transition physically, even though I was born like female, I would clearly come off as male still. So like that would be that would suck. That would suck ass. That would suck big ass. So that must be hard on itself. Me personally, I think a lot of, YouTubers, I'm not gonna lie, like me of course, and then stuff that's in the news and how many transgender people there are, I feel like, sure, it's great to show people that this exists and that we exist and that it's okay to be trans and stuff like that. But I also think it's kind of confusing a lot of kids, and I don't mean that from like a mean way, but I think it's confusing a lot of people because these people, many of them have explained that they have been through trauma and they just want to be accepted by society and stuff like that. And let's say they weren't accepted when they were female because they were too tomboyish or something like that. So then they transitioned. But then when they transitioned, people didn't like them in the LGBT community. Like it was just a whole thing, and these people just kind of want to be loved, and they think that if they transition, finally people are going to love me and shit like that. But that's not how it works. And I feel like a lot of these people, they try to find acceptance from others because they feel so lost, and that might be why some of these people transition and then detransition. Like I said, I watch many of these stories. I'm not going to have you guys sit down for 15 minutes and watch these because my video will be like an hour long. So anyways, that's that. So this video, I laughed within the first few seconds because it's actually like explains me, and I just thought it was hilarious. And I know it shouldn't be hilarious, but it's just listen to it.
When I was a woman, men had a problem with me. When I was a trans guy, trans and queer people had a problem with me.
And I just think it's so funny because like I've actually gone through the same thing. Like when I was a woman, men didn't like me, but now that I'm trans, like queer LGBT people and all that hate me. And I just think it's really funny because like you really can't find acceptance anywhere. So no matter what you do, no matter who you are, people are still not going to accept you. So even if you're the nicest gay person in the world, gay people are still going to hate you. I don't know why, but they're still gonna. I honestly don't know why. Like trans people hate me because I talked about gender dysphoria once in a video and I didn't understand it, and people hate me. But I mean, to each is their own, I guess. Just to prove one of my points.
After I went to high school, I went to Ohio State. My sophomore year, I was sexually assaulted. It absolutely contributed to just this feeling that I wanted to take my body off.
So right there is something that I have to disagree with completely, because I know people personally who have been sexually assaulted and they do not identify as transgender, nor would they ever want to change their gender or be viewed differently. It's just a weird pattern that I've seen, and I feel like I've done like an extensive research. I feel like I should have my PhD in gender dysphoria. I've just seen this pattern where people disassociate with their body or themselves as a person because of the trauma that they've been through. And it's all about like the rush of trying to do things so fast. A lot of people in these videos have said that once they transitioned and cut their hair, they wanted hormones. After they got their hormones, they wanted top surgery. After they wanted top surgery, they wanted a hysterectomy. After they had a hysterectomy, they wanted bottom surgery. Like that's the pattern that I've also seen. And I've never understood the rush about those types of things because I did not rush into them. I wanted them. Like I made sure a million times in my life that this is who I am and this is what I want to be and this is who I need to be, because I was not going to permanently alter my body just because I felt like this temporarily. I really, really made sure, and I think that's a lot of things people fail, because after 1 year of coming out, they'll start T. And no hate if you've done that, like, because I waited my entire life to go on T, but I still waited even after I told people I was trans because I needed to make sure within myself, and there was not one doubt in myself. I started testosterone like 5 years ago, so it was a year after I transitioned, so I can't really say anything about that, but I didn't get top surgery until 3 years ago, which I was 19, so that gave me 3 years into my transition. But anyways, I think people are very quick to rush with being on hormones and getting surgery, and that could either just be because they've been waiting their whole life to do this, or they think it's going to solve all their problems. A lot of these detransitioners say that they thought all of the surgeries are going to cure their dysphoria completely, which doesn't make sense, and I can understand why it does not cure your dysphoria completely. My dysphoria will never, ever, ever be fully gone. And I've accepted that, and I understand that. But what I'm doing right now, and transitioning and taking hormones and doing all that stuff, is helping my dysphoria immensely. So I can have all the surgeries in the world, but I will still never be born a male. I will never ever that's just not gonna happen. Like, I'm not gonna have everything that's totally natural and shit like that. Like, it's not gonna happen. I'd have to have cosmetic surgery to have everything fixed. And I've accepted that, and I know that, even if I have all of the surgeries, I'm not going to fully be cured of my dysphoria because I was not born male. So I know that. Like, I fucking know that. So I don't know why these people think that having all these surgeries and all these hormones and shit like that is gonna make them feel so much better about themselves and cure their dysphoria. Don't transition unless you're very sure. Don't do it. Don't do it, because it's very serious and people don't take it seriously, and I don't know why. Testosterone's serious. I've only been on it for 5 years, and my voice sounds like this. It's not going back. My voice was not this deep before I transitioned. That shit is not going back. Neither is my facial hair. Neither is my leg hair. Like, no, it's there. And do I love it? Yeah. I don't regret any of that shit, but some people do. So for this next video, I'm actually going to share, like, pretty much the entire thing. It's only a couple minutes, so watch it. I respect the of this video. I honestly, that's what I'm going to say. I respect this video a lot.
Hi, I'm Crash. I'll give you a bit of background about my transition history. I started living as a man when I was 18. I started taking testosterone when I was 20. I took testosterone for a total of 4 years. I lived as a man for about 9 years.
So this person's background is pretty much the same as mine. I took testosterone after a year or two of coming out, and I've been on it for 5 years. Nothing has changed, though, within me. My mind has not changed.
I detransitioned when I was 27. I'm 30 now. I detransitioned because I realized that my dysphoria and trans identity were rooted in trauma and internalized misogyny. I was severely bullied and harassed starting when I was a young girl and continuing throughout my teenage years. I also realized that starting in my teenage years and also in my early 20s, I received a lot of encouragement for identifying as a trans man. People treated me a whole lot better when I passed for male or when I was seen as a trans man compared to when I was seen as a woman. And I think that greatly influenced how I saw myself. I looked back over my past and realized that my transition and my trans identity were coping mechanisms for dealing with traumatic events that I had been living through, and that a lot of what I had experienced as dysphoria was a kind of dissociation that was a result of trauma.
So there you have it, folks. Now I'm going to say that video right there pretty much is what everybody else says, but in different words. So the trauma thing plays a role, disassociation plays a role, and just, you know, the temporary relief that somebody has when they transition because they think that it's the right thing to do also plays a role. Oh my god, it's just so sad. Like, I don't even have anything bad to say, but it's like, I could say something bad, that it makes transgender people look like they're not serious because this happens. And then, you know, people who doubt transgender people and people who just hate them are like, well, see, because finally you realize that transgenderism is fucked up and all that type of shit. Now they kind of have a valid point to, like, talk shit because they've seen that. I mean, that's the only bad thing I can say about it, but it's just, I just don't see how somebody can transition and go through all of that, even with the slightest doubt in their mind, because I've never been there, so clearly I can't understand that, but people have done it. So, I mean, that's fucking crazy. So I found another video, and just listen to this.
I really liked feminine things. I loved playing Barbies with my sister. I always play house at recess. I never liked kickball. I never liked football. I never liked sports, and I always liked feminine things. A lot of people hated that I was feminine, and I got called a fag and beat up a lot. That was always hard, and I never felt accepted or validated for being a feminine boy, and I don't think I have yet in my life. Growing up, I had a lot of internalized sexism and homophobia and transphobia. I grew up in a very, very, very small town in Nebraska. So around 16, 17, I discovered that trans people were like a thing, and that's something that you could do. You could transition. And that really fascinated me because being a feminine guy and never being validated for my femininity, I think I was excited at the fact that I could do something to myself that would make me feel like I belonged. because growing up in a small town and being a feminine guy and all of these intersections, it felt like I could change myself somehow, and that I could be validated for being exactly who I was. I started transitioning.
See, being accepted is something that this person wanted. I just want to be accepted. So they thought that being feminine as a guy was clearly not enough, because that is not accepted in general society and vice versa. But so that's why this person transitioned, and they wanted to be accepted, but like clearly that didn't work, and then they detransitioned, and just all the same type of story. So I'm really losing faith in humanity. And also Donald Trump is president, so like I'm gonna move to Africa.
I was a pediatric transitioner, so I started medical transition when I was underage, and I stopped transitioning nearly a year ago. And for me, detransition involved, a lot of thought and a lot of unlearning of what I understood about myself. When I was transitioning, I felt a lot of very intense body dysphoria that felt very innate and very integral at the time to the way I perceived myself in the world. And what I came to realize eventually was that this was not the case, that there were all these factors that played into my dysphoria, dissociation and feelings of inferiority for being female, and depression, body dysmorphia, all of these things contributing to this kind of general sense of alienation, sense of otherness from the people around me, and specifically from other women.
See, another one of my points. Right there, clear. Disassociation, inferiority, depression, and body dysmorphia, all of those things, I can see why somebody would think that they are transgender, because that kind of, a lot of LGBT people actually do have anxiety and depression. That's like actually a thing. But this is where people are getting mixed up, and I feel like a lot of kids today are getting mixed up. And if you're questioning if you're transgender or not, I'm not trying to steer you in the wrong direction. I'm just trying to give light on something that happens, because this is serious. And if you live, let's say you transition and you live as a male for 7 years, and then after 7 years you're like, well, and I don't know, I just don't want that for people. And I just want to try to help people, because that's all I try to do. But I honestly don't know what to think. I don't. That's the last video we're gonna watch. But I mean, my thoughts on detransitioning is that it's kind of, you should have been smarter. And I don't mean that in the meanest way. I just mean it in like a logical way. You should have been smarter and thought deeper. It doesn't look good on the trans community, and it also does not look good on you, and it also did not do you any good. And I don't feel like people who are unsure about being trans should try anything to help themselves alleviate dysphoria that is going to change them forever. Now, I don't mean, like, you could, if you want to try to alleviate your dysphoria and dress as a male or whatever, like if you're a girl and you're feeling that way and you're trying to, just fix how that is, that's totally fine. Totally fine. See what happens. If you still feel shitty, then I don't know. But if you feel great about it, then you might be trans. I don't know. I'm not here to tell people who's trans and who's not, because I can't do that. Like, I don't know you. I don't know. I can't say, well, hey, you're transgender and you're not transgender. But I don't want people to make the same mistakes that these people have made. And basically my opinion on detransitioning is that it's sad. If you guys have any points to say about detransitioning, let's talk about it in the comments, because I do like to actually have like smart conversations with you guys, because it's really interesting. And I haven't posted a video like this in a while that is kind of open to discussion. So if you do want to discuss it, or if you have detransitioned, or if you're thinking about it, or if you know somebody who has, or anything like that, just comment so we can talk about it. But anyways, with all that being said, I'm going to promote some stuff of mine right now. So if you guys do want any of my old clothes, I'm actually selling a lot, because I keep cleaning out my closet and there's just so much shit. Like, you guys know your closet has so much shit. If you want to buy anything for my Depop, I figured that I could sell them to you guys instead of giving them away. My Depop link will be in my description, so yeah. But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I love you, and I will see you on Sunday. Also, I'm going to be broadcasting every Thursday. I made up my mind. I don't know the time yet, but it's probably going to be like 3 p.m. Eastern. But catch me tomorrow on broadcast. Oh, and if you want to send me anything, my P.O. box is going to be in my description as well. So check that out, and I'm going to be opening stuff every week from you guys on my broadcast. So yeah, I love you. Okay, bye.